Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. So today, maybe you've heard the news, maybe you haven't, but a Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico has been shot not that far away from where I live in Banská Bystrica. He's been shot in the town called Handlova. And in this video, I just wanted to give you my feedback because this is really big news here, and it's actually worldwide news. Andrew Tate made an update about Slovakia. Tristan Tate has done a video in Slovak language. All the prime ministers, all the presidents, everybody's talking about this. Why? Because it's unprecedented that the prime minister of a European country would get shot. This didn't happen for a long time. Just wanted to paint a picture of what happened. He was like in the middle of a town meeting, and basically a random guy came in and shot him 4 times, close distance, maybe just like 1 meter. Stupid dog. I hate these dogs. Who's this guy? People have theories. It's Israel, it's Ukraine, blah blah blah. No, just you have to understand the polarization of Slovakia is huge. We have people who are liberal, who are crazy liberals here, and they want the death of this guy. Like even some of my friends who I have on Facebook, they were kind of celebrating this incident, and I was like, even if you hate him and you don't agree with him, like myself, I don't agree with Fico at all. I don't wish death for him. That's evil. That's like shaitanic. But if you are beyond this and you wish death on somebody, then you are the problem. The guy who shot him, he's not an agent, he's not a CIA. He's a 71-year-old librarian who is also a poet. He was shot, and this guy who shot him, he just shot him because he had a legal gun. He was like very old. He was a completely normal citizen. I don't know, I feel very strange, especially because it's in my city. He's right now here. And it's been a weird day. I couldn't believe it happened. And then I saw it in the American news, and I saw it on Twitter. And I'm like, subhanAllah. And I see like all these weird things where people, because I know this Slovak politics. I was inside Slovak politics. I was the assistant of one of the members of the parliament for a while, and I've also been in youth activism for 8 years. So I've met a lot of politicians, and so I know the ins and outs, and I know some of the people in his camp and how they were campaigning. So the problem is people just see surface level and they say, oh, he's this guy, and the truth is no, not even close, So it's just strange. My thing is, the point of this video that I'm making it, subhanallah, look, I'm a Slovak Muslim. I'm not a liberal. I'm not a Christian. Definitely not a Christian. I'm not a conservative, like whatever that means. Anti-immigration, white person, whatever. That's dumb. I'm not a liberal at all. I don't share any values with them. And I'm proud about that. So what I am is a Muslim, alhamdulillah. So I'm above all these labels. But even though I don't agree with this guy, and one time in my past, I wished him like the most horrific things because I thought he's the source of all evil. And I guess that's how many liberals think. I never wish death on anybody. So this is very strange that people wouldn't be able to sort of detach themselves from their worldview. I left politics when I realized we were actually nearby in a forest. We had like a party with the members of this youth political whatever organization, and we were campaigning against Fico. We were like doing a lot of things, and I said to the guys, hey, I know we are right, like economically right wing, so meaning libertarian mostly, and I know we're liberals, but let's say something nice about Fico. Like there must be something nice, or at least one thing he did correctly in his life. And that's by definition true. Like he had to do something correct. Like right now he was trying to make a deal with Azerbaijan to pump gas in Europe through Ukraine so we could avoid Russia, which is a great deal. And no one can be mad because, it's against Russia. It's good for Europe. So like what's up? And people couldn't say anything nice about him. That's when I knew, oh, these guys are way too deep. These guys can't even, like, even if I have an opponent, I say, okay, this guy, I hate him, but at least he's good in this, even if I hate this guy. But they weren't even able to say this. Oh, nice bird. So that means they are way too deep. They are just convinced they are correct and everybody else is wrong. So I think the liberals are the most dangerous people because they truly, truly don't have issues with things like this. He actually thinks it's okay, and many of my friends on Facebook think it's cool. Who don't agree with him? Like, yeah, he got shot and whatever. Like, what? Do you hear yourself? How can you even say that? You know, how can you even say that's okay? And the funny thing is, these people are all about freedom and democracy, and like you have to have freedom of thought and all this, but that's so not true. Like, if you step out of line and you start critiquing liberalism, immediately you'll be labeled. So they're just fancy words, and it's not true. The problem is the people who are offering alternatives are even dumber. So like the liberals are completely stupid because their ideas are contradictory, but the other ideas are even stupider, like the national idea, the idea to be white Christian nation. All those are even dumber ideas. So of course people are confused, like where to go. Like, we don't like liberalism, but this is very like stupid. And then you have these extreme ideas. The best idea is Islam. It recognizes divisions in between people. So it recognizes there's Christians, Jews, there's white people, black people, and it gives everybody purpose of life. And it's God's law. It's perfect. Like, it's perfect system for running society. Of course, it's not gonna work because people hate something that's good for them. That's in the Quran. People hate something that's good for them, and they love something that's bad for them. They don't know how to differentiate. Like, I eat chocolate, I know it's bad for me, but I love it. You know, if this polarization continues, even here, it's gonna continue. This incident will polarize much more, and then other countries will have the same issue. The US is next. With Trump, is the one figure who will like polarize everything. If something like this happens in the US, imagine Trump getting shot and he dies, for example. This could cause tremendous turmoil. I am from Slovakia, although I'm a Muslim and I converted to Islam, which makes it even more fun because back in my university days, I wrote a master thesis about this guy, Robert Fico, because he used to be a prime minister 3 times already. So he was really big and popular here, although never popular with young people. So he was always popular with older people because he was sort of pandering towards them. He's a populist leader. So I wrote a master thesis about populism in the political party that he has called Smer. I was never a big fan. I actually made a lot of, when I was in my stupid liberal days, I made a lot of activism against his political party, against him. I viewed him as like a typical Eastern European corruption, populist guy. He basically became the most famous prime minister of Slovakia until a big corruption scandal and a big sort of hit piece that was done by Jan Kuciak, which is one of the which was one of the news reporters here, who was writing an article about him and some corruption scandals involving his party and people he knew. I mean, it was never sort of like 100% proven, but the news reporter got assassinated and killed together with his fiancée. This was huge news. And since then, basically, he dropped because people assumed he's involved in that murder somehow, even though maybe not directly. And then suddenly last year, they elected him again because of the craziness of the COVID and the craziness of Ukraine war. We had a really horrible government. So he got back on track with populist statements such as "I'm not gonna send anything to Ukraine," blah blah blah, and people like that. Slovaks like kind of Russia. This is very unusual for our nation because Polish people, Czech people, all the people in the surrounding areas, they hate Russia, and we kind of split in the middle because of history, because of many things. We're not that anti-Russia. When I see people like Andrew Tate or somebody putting this guy as like this fighter for freedom and the free world, it's ridiculous. It's really strange for the past year because he's been on the right side of many issues that I agree with. And I had to kind of, since becoming a Muslim, I had changed my stance on so many issues. Before I was a liberal, now I'm like hardcore conservative, much more than Fico or whoever. But I don't get involved in politics. It doesn't matter to me if it's right wing or left wing. It's both sides of the same coin. It's still trying to improve this world. I would much rather prefer a government focused on the hereafter. That would be my ideal state, which is not going to happen here. I lean more towards the conservative side because they share the similar values. However, they hate Muslims. That's the one thing. Fico hates Muslims as well. He has many derogatory statements about Islam because we have no mosque, we have nothing, although I built one, and in the same city where they took him into the hospital in Banska Bystrica, which is right where we have a mosque. So maybe I can give him dawah, because he's actually in a life-threatening condition, so he's gonna probably have to fight for his life. People have to remind themselves this world is not their final destination. If you want to improve the media, the economy, all that, that's cool, but the most important thing you can do is to take care of your own soul. Like, the most important thing you can do is to figure out what is the purpose of your life. You don't need Fico, you don't need government to tell you that. Then you need to figure out, what am I doing here, and what's going to happen when I die, and then how did I get here? Those three things have to be figured out for your life to have meaning. Otherwise, you're like a lost soul. Doesn't matter what you believe then, if you don't have these figured out. So that's my thing. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and I'll see you in the next video, inshallah.